But the White House ordered the National Guard into Los Angeles to confront demonstrators protesting ICE raids in LA. And border czar Tom Homan claims that even California's elected officials need to step aside. Take a look.
If you stand in the way of your enforcement operations, you could be subject potentially to arrest. Are you saying that about Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom? Are they at risk of being arrested?
I'll say it about anybody.
Are you prepared to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Depends on whether or not there's an insurrection.
Do you believe there is, sir?
No, but you have violent people, and we're not going to let them get away with it. And there was a lot of violence, and it could have gotten much worse. And you have an incompetent governor.
Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You're creating the conditions that you claim you're solving, and you're not. And you're putting real people's lives at risk.
What a clown. Man. The gaslighting is unbelievable. Yeah. But before we get to today's video, don't forget, we got a new giveaway. Ram Diesel Turbo with the Cummins transmission and 10,000 cash. To get in to win, just go to my website. Anything you buy on the site, coffee, methylene blue, or merchandise, get you automatically entered to win. He said Trump created the situation. Yeah. No, you created this situation when you turned your state into a sanctuary state. Yeah. That's why you have this problem. Yeah. You have all these immigrants, illegal immigrants, that feel so entitled they can get away with anything. Yeah. That's what's causing this. You're harboring people that's living in our country illegally. Exactly.
When you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic.
They're scared. There's armed caravans of cops trying to move the crowds, tell them to go home, but they're scared. Yeah. But why are they're scared? Why are you out there then? Won't you stay in your house? Look after your kids. Watch some television. Yes, left wing talk about it. Nobody's scared. But we shouldn't be scared when we got mobs of people burning up cars, throwing rocks at the cops, being violent. We can we be scared? Can we be scared that we got people in our country that's living illegally? This murdering and raping our children and kids and daughters and wives? Yeah. Gaslighting.
And deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation. It's not about public safety. There's clearly no plan, and there is clearly no policy.
Yeah, the Defense Department has the U.S. Marines on high alert right now.
No, they covered.
Now, is it warranted, or does this sort of escalate the situation?
She said, is it warranted? Yeah, you have a lot of civil unrest. Y'all keep calling it protest. But y'all got the nerve to call January 6th an insurrection. Y'all are such hypocrites.
This sort of escalate the situation? I mean, whatever happened to states' rights? I thought that was what you do, because you tell the state, this is what we're thinking of doing. You don't just send people in. You don't just send troops in. But what do I know? I've never run a state. But I don't...
You don't have the right to break our laws because you're a state. You don't have immunity from our immigration policies. Yeah, just like the southern states, when they want to desegregate the schools. Yeah. A lot of states didn't want to participate in that. No, this is our state, and we're going to do what we want to do. We don't want those people in our schools. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. We sent National Guard there. Why? To desegregate the schools. Yeah. This is the exact same type of case. Y'all don't want to follow our immigration laws, so we have to send in the National Guard. We have to federally do what's right for American citizens. Yeah, well, first of all, they're just trying to calm everything down, make our streets safer in Los Angeles. Yeah, show of force. But they didn't escalate it. The illegal immigrants in your state escalated it. Okay, that's not where I want to see what she has to say. Yeah, I'm sure.
Don't really, when you come in and everyone is, when you go into the donut shop to look for people and you're dressed in tactical gear, you're creating an issue. You're creating a problem. You want people to come, you've scared them. Even when people are supposed to be there, when they come to talk to the judge, you're arresting them right after. What is going on here?
When can you arrest them? At night, when everybody's asleep? Yeah. So nobody sees it, then you can arrest them? Yeah. When are you supposed to arrest people? Yeah. I think if you're in our country legally, I mean, there's no such thing as a place that awards them immunity. If you're in a country legally, they know better. Just go back to the country of origin. Why are you going to hide and harbor yourself here in America illegally? I don't care where you at. If I know you're illegal, you're going to get arrested. Yeah.
I think what really matters
sort of a long view here is the fact that he is militarizing and deploying the Guard for the purpose of policing Americans' protest activity, right?
That's not protest. That's not protesting. When you're preventing the cops from doing their job, when you prevent ICE from doing their job. It's funny how January 6th, they said that was an insurrection. That's not a protest. Don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech or freedom of assembly. And there's a very big, stark demarcation between military troops and law enforcement, public law enforcement, civilian law enforcement.
Right.
And
They're
you
not
are
civilians.
an army turned.
Those are government officials. She's called a police officer civilian. How stupid is
that
this
what
joke?
she said?
Yeah. These cops are civilians.
Let me go back. She said that, huh?
Stark demarcation between military troops and law enforcement, public law enforcement, civilian law enforcement.
Right.
And you are an army turned inside to police its citizens can cause chaos, fascism. And so
The immigrants in Los Angeles caused all of this.
Yeah.
You put the blame where it's due. It's not on law enforcement or the National Guard.
The crowds are forming, the protests are forming because they don't want illegal immigrants deported from their cities, from their state. They're causing the problem.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Civil
way,
war.
and civil war. I think that's the way we need to look at it,
Civil
because
war.
deploying the National Guard is supposed to be a last resort. But what this president is doing is that he's saying he's going to deploy them anywhere in this country where there is protests. So that is certainly not a last resort use
That's not what he said.
of military troops. And one thing that I'll finally say is that there was some really important recent congressional testimony in December, and it was from retired Major General Randy Manner, and he said members of the military are not trained in civilian law enforcement because it's not a military function. So military involvement in mass deportation efforts would undermine the public trust in our veterans, in our armed forces. So it is escalating this situation.
And we need to know that the last time a president circumvented a state governor and
Who was arresting all the January 6ers? FBI.
Yeah.
Our government. You didn't have that argument when they were arresting January 6ers for just being at the Capitol. Didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Where was this argument then?
Yeah. No police officers, no military is prepared to handle civil unrest in their own country. It's something you have to learn on the fly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just stupid what she's saying.
sent in the National Guard without the governor requesting it was in 1965 when Lyndon Johnson sent in the National Guard to protect protesters who were civil rights protesters in Alabama, where there was that racist government. Today, he is sending in the National Guard to attack the protesters who are there. And look,
They're attacking protesters? Hey, Kevin, they shoot the protesters. We're at war. That's not even what's happening.
Protesters has been arrested.
Yeah, the protesters are attacking them. I've not seen any videos where cops are just attacking people.
Yeah, I want to see a video. Somebody out there, go home. No, don't deport them. And then they get handcuffed. I want to see that.
And get attacked.
Yeah.
drag through the streets. I want to say to the Latino community,
Your people.
we must be strategic. We must be nonviolent. We have the right to protest. We are Americans. This is our country. We have the right to free speech, but we cannot fall into the trap that Donald Trump is setting.
Trump set a trap for them to commit violence.
Nobody's been arrested for protesting.
Yeah. Donald Trump set a trap on them, tricked them.
Yeah. Y'all actually, with that January 6th committee, y'all actually arrested a lot of people that didn't do anything on
They
January
were
6th.
just actually
They were protesters.
Wanting to turn this into violent protests
Yeah.
and distract from his feud with Elon Musk, distract from the parade that he's throwing himself for his birthday, distract from the chaos.
He's doing this to distract from Elon Musk. His feud he got with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
That's why he's doing it.
Yeah, I wonder why people, man, you have to be, you know how stupid you got to be to take these women seriously?
Yeah.
That woman called cops civilians.
Of his tariffs. And we have to show up with American flags because we're not invaders. We are Americans. And so many of the people that are getting detained are here under some legality. So why are people protesting? People are protesting because I showed up masked, right? The people who didn't want to wear masks during a pandemic really want to wear a lot of masks now that they are dragging women through the streets.
Crazy. These fools are clapping. That's not what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, she said these people have some legality. What is that some legality? I mean, it's so vague and ambiguous. Just because they have some legality doesn't mean they are legally here in our country. You can have some, like my wife came here. She came here legally, but lost all her paperwork, which made her undocumented, and she overstayed her visa. Yeah, she has some legality, but at the time, my wife was in the country illegally.
Yeah, she had to actually leave
She had to leave.
for a few months.
Yeah.
A couple, whatever, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
so when she says that, some legality, that's a bunch of hogwash.
Yeah, she's talking about these people just wearing masks. They have to protect their identity because look at what's happening to them.
Huh. Why would you say that? Probably because what happened to the January 6ers? Y'all actually arrested people for protesting.
Yeah, but she's talking about the ICE agents who's covered their face. It's to protect them.
Their identity, yeah.
Yeah, because you people are nuts. Look what you're doing to LA.
Yeah.
And the president who sat in the White House watching protests as the insurrectionists on January 6th attacked police and had no issue with it. And the first thing he did was pardon 1,500 insurrectionists.
Those 1,500 people didn't attack cops that day.
Yeah.
That's why.
There were some bad apples, I admit. But the crazy thing is, I'm willing to say that. Y'all not willing to say there's some bad apples out there. Y'all keep referring to these people that they're just protesters that's being arrested.
Yeah. 1,500 people attacked cops at the Capitol on January 6th. That's pretty much what she said.
Now has a problem with these protesters who are protesting against the illegal, unconstitutional, without due process detainments that are going on of folks showing up at immigration court who are then disappeared into the basement of a federal building. I mean, it's inhumane.
I strongly agree with something that Sunny said, which is I virtually never
I
agree.
want to take, but pause it. But these people that's showing up to the court cases, a majority of them that's being deported and grabbed at the courthouse, it's because they're in our country under false pretenses. They don't even have to meet the prerequisites to seek asylum in our country. Yeah. So guess what? They're gonna grab them as soon as they come to the court case. Yeah.
Agree with the use of the National Guard on American streets unless it is absolutely needed to quell civil unrest and to protect the citizens of this country, because it's very important that we know the National Guard is not Republicans, it's not Democrats, it is Americans who set aside their politics and said that they're going to show up and do those jobs. A lot of DHS and ICE enforcement, by the way, are Democrats, maybe are Republicans. They are there to serve the country, the Constitution, not to answer to whoever their political figure that they might follow is. And what I see here is there was a volatile situation, and Donald Trump knew that by deploying the National Guard, rather than working with local law enforcement, rather than working with the governor and saying, hey, you've got till midnight tonight to get these protests under control, it was lighting a match on a tinderbox. But what I'll say is this, no one has a right to assault police officers, to throw things at police officers, to damage property, to set fires to things. And how you make your voice heard absolutely matters in this country. So this past weekend, friends of mine with Pod Save America and the Bulwark held a fundraiser timed with Pride in D.C. that was meant to raise money for immigration attorneys to help migrants in this country who feel like they need help getting the due process that they're entitled to. That is what you do. You don't throw things at cops or the National Guard. You don't set things on fire, because it is so counterproductive to the very cause that you're advocating for.
Well, and it feeds into what he wanted to do. What he wants to do is he wants to create a scene. He wants to say, I was justified in sending in the National Guard because look at how violent these protesters are, which they were not until this was exacerbated.
Yes, thank you.
I think he has a strategy here. He is losing support in every area. Inflation, the economy, tariffs, foreign policy. His
Inflation just hit a low.
4-year low. And you know the whole thing about these tariffs, they keep saying that it's going to be on the tax of the American people. No, it's not. These companies that sold out Americans jobs to overseas, how this crap works is They have it manufactured in other countries, then they have the product shipped back here to America, and then they sell it in their stores. The taxes on the person that's importing the product. It's not the American worker.
Yeah. They think it's going to be added to the price of it.
No, it's so insignificant. Like you produce a bag. I mean, the bag costs $10. The tariff will be what? $2.
$2.50.
Yeah, they eat that easily, but they keep spinning it like it's horrible. Yeah. Like if tariffs was so horrible, why is all the other countries
got tariffs on us?
Tariffs on us, but it's not okay for us to tariff them back.
Yeah,
that's
ratings
stupid.
are dropping
Even
like
on immigration,
like rocks. But there's one catch.
Is it like
here.
under 30%?
Current support right now, though, is that 66% of the American public actually thinks it is crime enough to be undocumented. And therefore deported.
That it's criminal to be undocumented?
Yes, it is not. You know how the disagreement was in the beginning? We were told it was going to be violent criminals, and I think everyone at this table would agree. Yeah. Haul out the violent criminals, fine. But a very important distinction was 60% of the American public, 2/3 of independents, 90% of Republicans, and just a little under half of Democrats think the crime is in being undocumented.
Even if it's a civil offense.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
that's
what I'm
true.
saying is a massive amount of this country actually agrees with not how he's doing it, but with what he's doing.
So there's
I think
misinformation out
the
there.
strategy here is he's leaning into a scene right now, creating a bigger thing, because it is the one thing that he remains
Well, let's
supportive.
fix that
he's
right
a-
now, because it is not illegal to be undocumented. It is not a crime to be undocumented.
But what they're
People
saying
are
is the
not
problem is
ille-
that they
no, but
are
I'm just saying.
It's not.
So if you're undocumented, I can't deport you.
It's not a crime.
It's not a crime, right? If you're undocumented, I can't deport you. Why does my wife have to go back for 6 days? Because she was undocumented. Being in this country is illegal and makes you a criminal.
Yeah. They just said civil. It's not.
It's not civil. That's a criminal charge. You get deported after being in the country. You can't come back.
Right.
We need to put that information out
But
there.
I don't
it is
think-
a civil infraction.
Yeah, and I don't
not
think it's
criminal.
actually
That's what it
broadly a misunderstanding. I think that 60% of Americans believe it's a civil offense, and that if you come here and you're undocumented, that you should be deported.
But he's actually lost some points on the way he's handling immigration, not the border.
Absolutely.
And
But it's the only
I think a
place
lot
he
of
remains
but I
strong.
think a lot of Americans voted for him on immigration, thinking he was going to deport gang members and
Yes.
criminals. And he is deporting our friends, our neighbors, mothers, fathers,
Children.
people working hard to make
Children.
America actually function. And this is not what I think a lot of people voted
A
for.
lot of people don't, but it does.
Sarah
What I'm
is right
saying
about
is that
this.
these polls are consistently across the board showing there's more support than you would realize
Well,
if you stay in your own
Well,
bubble.
so let me throw this out to you, because something I'm interested in is I saw this list of countries that people can't come
like
in.
Haiti.
What did they do? And so I read some of the things. They said people have overstayed their welcome. That's why they're mad at people in Chad, because they tend to overstay their welcome. Well, I noticed that the man who attacked all those folks who were marching is from Egypt. He overstayed his welcome. Egypt is not on...
In Texas.
In Texas, the man who set folks on fire, the anti-Semitic man. None of the countries that are on this "you can't come in here" list seem to have done anything of note to keep them from coming in. So what is it? Are we about states' rights? Are we about keeping people in or out? Are you out because you got here in a different way because you fled the nation you live in? And maybe you were able to get in, and now you've been trying to stay and doing it right, and you're still getting thrown out. So what is it? Is this just pure fascism that's happening? Is this is this what's going on?
Well, there is fascism.
Yeah.
Fascism. So him kicking out people that's undocumented is fascism, but letting people come in here with no due process, coming out country illegal, that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
I can't with these women.